What's up, Walking Dead friends and family? It's Brian Castrillo back with another review, and this time it is for Fear the Walking Dead episode Breathe With Me. And this episode was absolutely fantastic, and honestly, the first episode of season 7 was amazing, and they just keep getting better every single time. The writing is phenomenal, and honestly, everything in the Walking Dead universe right now is at an extreme high, and I'm just excited for it all. But this episode was really great. And we start with Sarah waking up in what looks like a freaking castle. I'm like, where the hell are they? But she wakes up, and then you can tell she's disoriented and hurt. But she's walking, yelling for everybody. Where are you guys? And then this walker comes in, and he's got like, I don't know if it was a yield sign, but it's melted into him. And again, the special effects for the season has been phenomenal. I'm just loving the new walkers. I cannot express enough love for what they've been doing this year. But this walker's getting closer and closer, and she's looking around, and we see these long rifles that look like they were used in the War of 1812. And she's like these old musket rifles, and she's trying to get it loaded and ready. And this walker's just getting closer and closer. Then at the last possible second, we hear a shot. And I'm like, did she actually shoot the rifle? But no, it was Al saving her at the last moment. And then everybody comes out. We got Wes, we got Charlie, we got Daniel, we got Luciana. And, basically everybody from our group that went with Isabel. But Isabel wasn't there. And Sarah even asked about her. And Al was like, it's kind of better off that you don't know. Which I get a lot of questions about her. The fact that she left. Where did she go? Because we found out that the helicopter had crashed, so she clearly didn't have any type of transportation. But what is her role and what's going on with the CRM? But I digress. We did find out that she left some pills to deal with any type of radiation poisoning. So if you had to go out there, this would help you. And then they started questioning, like, how did the walker get in? Because I guess they had some sort of gates or whatever. And Charlie asked if Daniel did it. And Daniel was like, no, or maybe I did. And I hate seeing him like this. If he's getting dementia or what's going on with him where he can't remember. And Luciana, spoke to him in Spanish and basically said, we're going to work through this. We're going to get this. But I'm wondering, is he really, getting dementia? This is the warrior that I remember back from the earlier seasons, and it's just difficult seeing him like this. I don't know if there's a plan going on, or he actually is doing this maybe to try and see if he can trust everybody. I don't know what's going on, but so then they start saying, Sarah starts asking, where's Wen? Where's Wendell, my brother? And Luciana was saying how, we've been looking, and, well, you're not looking hard enough, and I want to go out. And seriously, the passion that is coming from Mo's face out of Sarah is just phenomenal. I absolutely loved her in this episode. And she's like, you maybe did, but I'll even look that much harder. I'm going out. But they're saying, no, you can't. We only have so many pills. Speaking of those radiation pills that Isabel left for them. And she says, I don't care. That's my brother. So then the scene switches to, and we see Sarah up on a hill, days going by, and she's, saying, Wendell, are you there? Speaking to radio. Gave me major Rick Grimes from season 1, back when he said he would call Morgan every day at the same time. And that's what Sarah was doing. So it just brought me back to that parallel with season 1 of The Walking Dead. And eventually we hear Momo, Morgan of all people, and he's saying how he was at the Pennsylvania. And as it's going on, I'm watching the light blinking on the walkie-talkie, and I'm like, that's about to die, because it was blinking. It was going to a slow blink, and I'm like, we're going to lose power to that. And sure enough, the battery did die. And then Sarah turns around, and she sees what looks like a Jeep of some kind, and she's like, who are you? Because the Jeep looks fairly clean for an apocalyptic world post warhead that went off. And I gotta these Bang energy drinks are great if you, on long nights. Like I got this candy apple crisp, and no, they're not paying me. Wish they would, but it's been a long day, so definitely need one of those. But well, anyway, she goes down to where this Jeep was, and she's looking in, and there's Rufus. Like, thank you, Rufus is alive. And she finds the box with Emil's head in it, and of course, Emil is the twin brother of Josiah, who we saw at that, the other episode where he's holding his head and said he's going to avenge his brother. And sure enough, there he is right behind her. And then they start kind of getting into somewhat of a scuffle, an argument that ultimately ends with him saying, I can help you find your brother, but you have to give up Morgan. You have to tell him to meet me at a certain place. And reluctantly, Sarah did do that because she wants to find her brother, because he's saying that this is what I do. I can find him. And she eventually gives him the hat, which Rufus smells that, and he goes off running. And then Josiah said, well, we'll go chase him, just after, as soon as I bury the dead of the 2 walkers that he just killed. And again, the special effects team, phenomenal job, you guys. Absolutely love it. But it's interesting that we're this deep into the apocalypse, and he's talking about respecting the dead, burying the dead, and these aren't even people that he knew. These are just random walkers, which is it speaks to the type of character or the type of person that he is, that he was still able to maintain his moral code, his moral compass, and that, of course, is a red flag. Anybody who's been watching The Walking Dead for this long, we know what happens to those who kind of are that moral compass. But anyways, all of a sudden we hear Rufus barking, and he's barking at some weirdo all kind of dressed up in weird garb, and he's having these walkers that are kind of like in this some kind of cart with walls, and Rufus is barking at him, but some of the walkers had escaped. Excuse me. And they're coming close to Rufus, and all of a sudden we hear the shots, and those walkers were killed by Josiah, and we see Sarah there, and they're asking, who are you? What are you doing here? And then he's saying how he strips the walkers of all their belongings and basically has them naked walking around. And this was really weird. I didn't really realize who he was at first, but he's talking about sprinkling them around, which is kind of odd. I'm like, who are you? Who do you work for? What is the point of this? But Josiah forces him to strip down too, and we find that he has this bandana that Rufus recognizes, which was, at least at one point, belonged to Wendell. And Sarah's getting upset, and she says, you need to take us to him. So he takes him to this farm where it looks like, cattle or whatever would have been in these different pens, but he's got walkers all penned up, this is really strange. Who are these people? Or what is this guy doing? And Sarah says, he's not in here. And then all of a sudden the camera turns and pans to Wendell's wheelchair, and it's bloody, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting ready to tear up. I'm getting emotional over this because I don't want to lose Wendell, and I'm starting to feel for Sarah. And then and my goodness, her passion and emotion in this, I cannot speak enough on this, because she was amazing in this episode. But then, she's upset because this guy's running off after he opened the gates, and these walkers are coming at him, and she's watching him. That's all she cares about. And she runs to the truck, and she's trying to take off to go after him, and she's leaving Josiah there to die, which is not Sarah. That's not who she is. And ultimately, Josiah gets in the van, and she's trying to, knock him out of the car. Ultimately, they go over this ledge, and they're stuck there, and, they wake up. There's, Sarah's, driver's side window is kind of smashed and shattered, and there's walkers coming from the backside, and Josiah is basically saying, we got to call Morgan. He's got to help. But Sarah's saying, she apologized for what she did. She said that's not her, but she tells him, but I'm going to do that, but you're not going to kill Morgan, because you're not a killer. And so then more walkers are coming, and then Sarah looks to the side, and there's one of the warheads which didn't go off because and she's hyperventilating, and then all of a sudden Morgan's outside. He's taking out these walkers, and then this just amazing, well done scene. And then of course Josiah and Morgan are fighting, and they're going back and forth. Two amazing fighters, but right before that, we learned that Josiah was a National Park Service ranger who was there for search and rescue, which is where he got all his skills. And so this fight comes out, and they're pretty much, him and Morgan are kind of pretty even back and forth. And then at one point Morgan falls on the ground, and after fighting these walkers that are coming, and Josiah goes to grab his brother's head, and it's right next to Morgan. He's trying to get him to bite it, and then out comes Rufus, and he kind of breaks it up, and then he goes to attack Emil's face, and he got bit, and I'm heartbroken because we know what happens, and we lost Rufus, and I'm telling you, if we lose Skidmark, I'm rioting. Skidmark better be okay, but ultimately they kind of apologized to each other, and Josiah said, that's on me. They bury him with a can of beans because that's what Rufus really liked, beans. Really heartbreaking moment, but he mentions he's talking to Sarah because he was saying, a prior conversation in the truck, he was saying how he knew when his brother died because they're twins, and the moment he died, he felt that, and he goes to Sarah, and you wouldn't be out here looking for your brother, because if he was dead, you would have felt that. And then Morgan was saying how he believes that he would be at Victor's, because if he didn't have his chair, then he had to have had help. And he mentions Victor, and that's where they got to be. So they travel to where Victor is, the three of them, and because Josiah said he wants to go because he still wants to help fulfill his deal where he said he would help find Wendell. And they go to the steps, and there's got like this platform. There's a old style paid telephone, which was kind of weird. And they go into calls, and then of course here comes his henchmen with their guns, and they're aimed at him. And you hear Morgan saying how, of course, he's not going to come himself. And then lo and behold, there's Victor, and just kind of really wants to kind of dig in at Morgan and says, I want to make sure that I'm here so you hear it from me, which is opposite of what Morgan was saying. And the conversation is kind of saying, he's kind of putting it to Sarah that, I can let Wendell come out. Well, one of the things he said to him, he's like, of all the people who stood by me, Sarah, you were never one of them, kind of digging at her. And he said, I can let Wendell come out, but this isn't a revolving door. And if he comes out, then he's gonna be out here in this hard terrain that you have already, spoken on. And then ultimately Sarah, says, okay, just don't promise me that you won't tell him that I was here. And Victor agrees, and she basically let him go, because he was, safer in there. And then they kind of go their way. Of course, Victor kind of threw in the face of what was going on at the Pennsylvania. And they asked, well, after Victor, left, they were talking about where they're going to go. And Victor said, well, why don't you come with me? And he's like, well, with my radiation poison, I can't really go anywhere. So Sarah gives him, she's like, no, you're not going to be sick. And she gives him the pills that she had saved for her and Wendell because she knows Wendell is safe. And so, and he, of course he says, thank you. And he says, but I still got some things to do to work out. And he kind of goes their way, and Sarah and Morgan go their way. And then we see that guy pull up again at the last scene with some other guys, and we learn that these were the stalkers. These were the guys that were fighting Will, were fighting against Victor. Who are these people? But what we did learn is that now they had that undetonated warhead. So what is their plans with that? Crazy final scene. My goodness, this episode was amazing. They just keep getting better. Amazing job to Demetrius Gross and Sarah. Well, not Sarah, but Mo Collins, who plays Sarah. Absolutely love this episode. They just keep getting better and better. And as with every one of my reviews, I love to do a shout outs. Now, I had another YouTube video. I was going to give this shout out on World Beyond last one, but for some reason YouTube was failing me and did not allow it to upload. But this one goes out to my friend and brother, Mark Prince. But in this world, it's been a crazy world. A lot of things going on, and if there's one thing that the world needs a little bit more of is smiles and laughter. And that is what my friend Mark Prince is bringing out to people. He has this group on Facebook called LMFAO, Marky and the Comedy Pros. Amazing group. They have great memes. They have great videos, jokes. And it's, for the most part, it's pretty clean. So, I mean, anybody can join. And he's also doing things with a live comedy tour, but you're going to kind of have to join his group to kind of learn more of that. But absolutely great guy. This is a fantastic group. And if you just want something to kind of get away from the daily stress of the world, what's going on, and you just need to laugh, just want to hear some funny things, check out his group. Of course, the link's going to be down below in the description. Thank you guys for watching. Absolutely love you guys. If you enjoyed this content, hit the like button. I'd be honored if you would subscribe. And as always, thank you for watching. Love you guys.